Students, in today's topic we are going to discuss about a rigid body. What is rigid body? Motion of a rigid body, derivation of equations of rotational motion and its comparison with the linear motion, and equilibrium of a rigid body. Students, till work energy power we have dealt with the motion of different objects or bodies by using the concept of point mass. So you know what is point mass? It's a object having certain mass but negligible dimensions. So with this concept it was easy to explain the motion because the motion was just linear or translational. But in real life we come across the extended objects having finite mass and size, like stone, ball, earth, anything that we see. It's a example of extended object. So what is extended object? It's a collection of large number of particles, and we also call it as system of particles. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about the rotational motion of extended object. If the extended object is deformed during rotational motion, then motion of the object becomes complicated. Therefore, for the simplicity, an extended object is considered such that its shape is not deformed when some net force is applied on it. Such an extended object is regarded as a rigid body. Examples are stone, metallic sphere, iron rod, etc. Anything that is perfectly solid, we can say. Ideally, rigid body is a body with perfectly definite and unchanging shape. It means if the body is say moving, then the distance between the constituent particles does not change even when the large force is applied on it. So what kind of motion can a body have? Type of motions. One is translational motion. In pure translational motion, at any instant of time, all the particles of body have the same velocity because they cover the same distance. Like here the particle P1 and P2, they are covering the same distance when the body slides from point A to C. But just see in this case what's happening. When the body is rolling, then what happens? Different points, say point P1, P2, P3 and P4, they have different velocities because they are covering different distances. That means it's not a pure rotation. So sorry, pure translational motion. So it's a combination of translational plus something else, and that something else is called rotational motion. So in rotational motion, every particle of the body moves in a circle which lies in the plane perpendicular to the axis and has its center on the axis. Like these are the particles. They are describing different circles having different radii. So if the particle is at farthest point, then it will have the bigger radii. So all these circles have the common center, that is center on the axis of rotation. This is what? This is axis of rotation. Examples are say ceiling fan. It's an example of perfect rotational motion because axis is fixed. Next example is say potter's wheel. It's also rotating about the fixed axis. The axis is not moving. Now question is, what happens if the axis is also say shifting its position? Say it's not shifting, it's say it's not stable. Say it's there is a sidewise movement of this axis. Then what happens? Like this. So the spinning top, you might have seen the spinning top. So there is a sidewise movement, so orientation of the axis like this. Here it is moving to this side. Ideally it was here, but due to the movement of the axis it is describing a cone. So this type of motion where axis is describing a cone, that is called precession. Fourth one is rolling motion. So it's a combination of translational and rotational motion. Next is kinematic equations of rotational motion. So kinematic equations of rotational motion. First question is angular velocity attained by rotating body. So we know alpha is equal to what? D omega upon dt. So we can write it as omega final minus omega initial divided by t final minus t initial. So here initial time is taken as t1. Say if we take it 0, omega 1 is equal to omega naught, and second time final time is taken as t, and final velocity taken as omega. Then we get the equation like this. Second question is angular displacement of the body rotating with constant angular acceleration. So we know what is average angular velocity. It's a theta upon time. So this is the formula, theta is equal to average angular velocity into time. So also average velocity is initial plus final by 2. So put the value of this in theta, and then we get, we know omega is equal to omega naught plus alpha t. So using all these two equations we get the final equation like this. Third one is angular velocity attained by the body after covering angular displacement theta. Here we know theta, equation of theta, equation of omega. From second equation find out the value of t and put it in this theta equation. Just by simplifying you get the third one. Next is comparison of linear motion and rotational motion. We have a complete chart. Here we can see distance or displacement is shown as s or x in linear motion, and in rotational motion it is represented by angle or angular displacement theta, linear velocity v ds upon dt or dx upon dt, angular velocity omega is equal to d theta upon dt, linear acceleration a is equal to rate of change of velocity, angular acceleration is rate of change of angular velocity, linear mass, here moment of inertia. So what is moment of inertia? It is the rotational analogy of the mass. Force, here is torque, second law of motion, here's second law in rotational motion. Translational kinetic energy half mv square, here half m is replaced by I and v is replaced by omega. Work, force into F dot s, here theta dot tau torque dot theta. Power F dot v, here tau dot omega. Similarly, equations of translational motion, we know v is equal to u plus at, s is equal to ut plus half at square, and v square minus u square 2 is equal to 2 as. Recently we have derived all these equations, and also the fourth equation is distance travelled in nth second, and here's angle traced in nth second. So next is equilibrium of rigid body. So rigid body is in equilibrium when it is not undergoing any change in rotational or translational motion. So to meet the first one, that is, it should be in the translational equilibrium, the force must be 0, If force is 0, it means P is constant. That means either the body is at rest or moving with the constant velocity. And to meet the second condition related to the rotational motion, it must be in the rotational equilibrium, that is net for torque acting on the system should be 0, or it must have constant angular momentum, or the body does not rotate or rotate with the constant angular velocity. Next is partial equilibrium. What is partial equilibrium? It means the body is said to be in partial equilibrium if either it is in the rotational equilibrium but not in the translational equilibrium, or it is in the translational equilibrium but not in the rotational equilibrium. So, first one is, we can see here net force, or we can say total force 2F not 0. So, it is not in the translational equilibrium, but clockwise torque tau clockwise is equal to tau anti-clockwise. It means it is in the translational equilibrium. In the second figure, we can see the torque is not 0, but force is 0. Net force is 0. F minus F is equal to 0. So, F net, or we can say F net is equal to 0. So, it is in the translational equilibrium but not in the rotational equilibrium. Thank you, students. Thank you.